G'day ladies and gentlemen, in this video I'm going to show you exactly how you can save your business $248,000 a year in 4 simple steps. I know it doesn't look super valuable right now, but I promise you by the end of this video you'll have complete clarity on how you can do this yourself, and it's a lot easier than you think as well. And essentially I'm going to be reading off a document that we use internally, and we've done it plenty of times before. So who am I? I'm Max Sweeney. I own Sweeney Studio, and we're an AI implementation company working with boring businesses like plumbers, builders, occupational therapists, and pretty much everyone in between. And here's sort of what makes us different. Unlike 95% of the AI market, which I'm sure you've seen, we actually develop the AI solutions, not just like consult on things we've never done before, which seems to be what majority of the market is at the moment. We build the system, we deploy the automations, and we deliver the results ultimately. And this framework is a very simple version of what we do with literally every person and every client we work with. So I'm going to rip straight in. I'm going to just be reading off the document, and you can follow along as you wish. And by the end of the video, hopefully you'll have complete clarity on how you can save all this money. So the objective of step 1 is we want to find where your team burns at least 20 hours per week on repeatable, high-cost manual work. And so why does this actually matter? Well, most businesses actually do have easily $250,000 sitting in plain sight. So this could be like operational managers spending 10, 20 hours a week on data entry, sales teams manually qualifying leads for 10 hours a week, or customer service copying and pasting responses for 20 hours a week at $50 an hour. That's anywhere from $2,000 to $4,500 per week per person. So if you own a company with 30 people in it, well, as you can imagine, there's a lot of time just being wasted of people pretty much doing nothing. And so here's the audit process. You just create a simple spreadsheet, Excel sheet, whatever you prefer. You can map out your team's week. You just get them to do a simple time audit. So it could simply just be every 15 minutes, just write down like what they are doing. I know it sounds dumb, and might sound tedious, but it's really not. Like every 15 minutes, set a timer, write one word. Very simple. Put this data into a spreadsheet. And so just the task might be like data entry from emails into a CRM, and you just tally up all the 15 minutes or all the hour marks and come to a total. So it might be 12 hours a week, and they might be a manager, so they're on $75 an hour as opposed to 50, and then you can calculate that weekly cost. And all you have to say, is it repetitive, and what other software is being used? And then you basically just do that for all the things that they've outlined. Not all these things will be repetitive, not all these things will be simple, but for this demonstration on this purpose, we're just looking for the easy peasy automations to do. Easy peasy. And then all you have to do is apply the ROI filter. So for each task, ask, is it repetitive? Like, do they follow the same steps at least 80% of the time? Is it high volume? Does it happen at least 10 times per week? Is it rule-based? Can you write down the decision logic, which is basically like, if this, then do this. If this, then do that. That's a decision tree. And then is it software-based? So can we use apps or APIs as an integration? If you're saying yes to at least 3 of these, it's a prime automation candidate. This is something that you can work with and we can work with. And all we have to do is calculate our annual waste as well to sort of quantify a figure on it. So simply it's just weekly hours times hourly cost times 48 working weeks is around your annual cost, roughly. And just as an example, if it takes them 12 hours a week and it's managed on $75 an hour, takes them 48 hours a week, so 48 weeks in a year, that is around $43,000 a year of them doing whatever. So in this first week, I map it out week by week. So it's a 4 weeks step. You can do this in 4 days, you can do this in 40 weeks. Really is up to you. All you want to do is just create a top 5 automation opportunity table where we outline the process name, how much time or the cost of doing the thing, how complex is it, so like how many different softwares, you can sort of gauge this. We gauge this, you don't really have to. And then just estimated savings. Again, if you're repeating it like 80% of the time, or if it's the same 80% of the time, rough savings percentage is would be around that figure as well. And then from there, you can sort of give it a priority. That's what we do internally. If you've got no idea what you're doing, you don't even have to do these last 2 steps. You literally just write like lead qualification, or like the process name, the annual cost, and then the complexity. Complexity generally just means like how many different tech stacks are we touching, or how many different platforms are we touching. So if there's 4 platforms, we just call it a 4 out of 4. You don't even have to use the 1 to 10 score. So yeah, and then that's just the formula. And the high score, just do this first. This document will be in the description, so you can just copy and paste all the formulas over. On top of that, if you are too lazy to do any of this, you can simply just book a call with us and we'll do it for you. Step 2 is the process decomposition. So you want to turn your tribal knowledge into like machine readable logic, or machine readable logic rather. So why this step sort of makes or breaks you. You can't automate what you can't define. Like if you just got some manager who's an absolute gun and you're doing $3 million a year, that's like super normal, but we need to get his knowledge from his head into an automatable machine. So most automation projects actually fail because teams jump straight into the tools without mapping the process out. And when we started, we made this mistake plenty of times. Believe me, it cost us literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so you end up with an automation that just breaks on edge cases, expensive developer time, like fixing the same issues. And I mean expensive, like seriously, we spent like 400 hours or something like that on a single workflow, I remember. It was a nightmare. And then team members who don't trust the system, therefore don't use it. So the decomposition framework is basically pick your number 1 priority process from step 1, and now you want to break it down. You want to just start with we call it the happy path. So basically the path where 80% of cases are going, which is like the path that should be followed. And you just want to document the flow. Again, this is like quite technical. You can simply just write dot points or like label it. So like step 1, do this. Step 2, then do this. Step 3, then do this. And if you don't know what that process actually looks like, just go talk to the person doing it every single day. Because believe me, they'll know how to do it. The edge cases. So if it's happening less than 20% of the time, you want to just document sort of what breaks the happy path. Like, is it missing data? Is it like, so for example, if you're moving data from like email to CRM when a new lead comes through, just as an example. Maybe one of the lead fields filled out, and so you're like, well, what the fuck do I put here? So this is that's what we call an edge case. So is it like missing data? Is it data conflicts? Is it system errors? Is it human overrides? So the salesperson or sales rep or whoever's doing it has to call them and go, hey, I need this information too, by the way. You want to try and write out as many of the if/then rules. So like, if there's no data, then do this. If there is no email field, then do this. To all the sort of edge cases you can think of, or all the edge cases that have happened. And the person actually doing this process day to day will know pretty much all these edge cases. And then you sort of want to create a data flow map. So you just want to create like a very basic visual of like, what are the inputs coming in, sort of what changes. So are we like enriching that data or scoring it or whatever it is? And then what does the output look like? Perhaps that could just be a screenshot of your HubSpot lead, whatever it is. And then you sort of want to label like which tools are involved. So HubSpot, Gmail, Slack, etc. And then this is like your sort of final deliverable on what you should have by the end of week 2. If you do this properly, it will not take you longer than 2 hours. Like seriously, it does not take long at all. Step 3 is your software validation. This gets a little bit technical. If you have a tech guy in your business, get him to do it, because he'll be able to do it really, really quick, faster than you learning how to do all this. Or again, just use us. Not to plug ourselves, link in the description. So, confirm your tech stack can handle automation without expensive custom development. So for example, sometimes, I remember OG HubSpot from 10 years ago, it was AIDS. Like you can get any data out, and now you can. So you might be using a different CRM, like Wonderbuild or whatever else, depending on like what niche you're in, that suck. And we want to know if the platform sucks or not, right? So here's sort of what kills projects, like from our experience, and we've done quite a few now. Assume your CRM has an API and it doesn't, or it may even say it has an API that just doesn't work. You have to like actually go test this. And then you hire a developer to build a custom integration for that platform, or you have to talk to the platform directly. Nothing ever will happen from this. They will waste your time and it'll cost you a buttload of money. Do not do this. Discover the integration breaks every software update. Again, so those small platforms, those small softwares, this is very common. And you're basically wasting months and thousands of dollars maintaining it if you get it to work. And that's a big if. So before you build anything, you want to validate that you can actually build in it. And if you can't, for like a major step, so just for argument's sake, your CRM, you can't build in it, choose a different automation that you can build with and start there. Start with the simplest thing, not, you know, the highest ROI necessarily. And then just as a validation checklist, you just want to make sure your software has a public API, your API access is included in your current plan. So like a lot of different companies sort of lock a bit behind like huge enterprise tiers. Again, if they're doing this, don't use it. Or if you're not an enterprise, don't use it. If you're on enterprise, then yeah, go crazy. And yeah, just take these steps to like check it at a basic level. So just Google the API documentation, look for phrases like REST API and webhooks and developer portal, and then check your account settings for those API keys or integrations. And if you're a tech guy and you're watching this, test the API connection in Postman, because that will save you a buttload of time in the future. Take our word for it. Again, this is super tech. Why do you need API? This is just, again, if you're technical, just skip this bit. If you're non-technical, basically GET request is like pulling that lead information from the hubs, from the platform. Writing data is like post to put requests, so creating new data in that platform. Update is like changing that data in the platform, and then deleting is obviously deleting. And then how do you trigger on an event? So example, how do you trigger automation when a new lead comes into your CRM? There'll be a webhook there. We're going to skip this bit. Again, if you're technical, you know how to do it, how to get credentials. This will literally be in the instructions in their API documentation if it is good. If the instructions are really unclear or shit, the platform is probably shit. Or get a tech guy to do it, or get us to do it. Pre-built integrations. Does n-ed-n or your automation tool have a native integration? If it's a big platform, it will 100% be there. Especially like n-ed-n or Zapier, depending on like what you're going to use. We use n-ed-n for everything internally because it's just the best by far. But there's plenty of pre-built nodes. So HubSpot exists, Salesforce exists, Gmail, Slack, etc. Should all be there. If the pre-built node exists, your setup not necessarily going to be 90% faster, but it's going to be way easier. And if you're doing it for the first time, it's going to be definitely a lot faster as well. If there's no pre-built node, you can just use HTTP request node, which is still doable, just a little bit more complex, and just slower to develop. This is how you should map it all out. We have like a master list of softwares just getting developed out, but you can just do it for yourself. What to do with blockers? So if your tool sucks and you're going to migrate the tool anyways, just migrate now. It'll make your life easier in the future. You can use a bridge tool if you want, or you can just remove the problematic software and just change your workflow. So just choose one of these options. And these are the deliverables by week 3. Cool. And now the last step, and probably the most difficult steps, to build and deploy this in n-ed-n. So why n-ed-n? For most business cases, you can self-host, so you don't have to share your data if you don't want to. There's also the cloud option, which is really, really good. There's 400 pre-built integrations. Again, super handy. It's like a visual no-code workflow builder. Again, you don't have to be technical to use it. You just need to understand how like data works. And then you can code if you want to using JavaScript or Python. And the self-hosted version is like literally free. Or if you're using cloud version, it's like a static amount. You can have 50,000 executions a month, and it will still cost you like 60 euros or whatever that is, $100. As opposed to Zapier, which is like literally, I think the plan that if we use Zapier, it costs us multiple thousands of dollars a month. So yeah, way cheaper. Okay, so how to build this stuff. Again, there's other n-ed-n tutorials on the internet. This is not an n-ed-n tutorial. This is just like how to do the thing. Okay, so cloud hosting, again, just pick this option if you're not technical. Or if you're self-hosted, just use Docker and on AWS. Very simple. Or just skip the connect your apps because that's more self-hosted. n-ed-n has like pre-built nodes if you're using a cloud version that are really, really good, and you can just click the built-in test buttons to test everything out. So you want to build the happy path. You start with the webhook trigger. Again, this won't be relevant to you if you're not a technical person. Basically, you can just go through and do these steps. I'm not going to go through each one because I don't want to bore you. I suppose the main things I just want to cover is make sure you're doing error handling. Make sure you send that like alert to, you know, whatever chat platform you use, like Slack or email or whatever. Wherever you'll receive like a notification, put it there. And then testing as well. You want to test, you want to make sure the happy path works like majority of the time, and then you can sort of start adding those like edge cases we spoke about earlier. And then you want to load the test up, so you can submit 10 leads simultaneously, and you just want to verify that like everything works. Phase 5 doesn't really matter. It's like deploy monitor. You literally turn on the fucking end-to-end workflow. It's super simple. I'm gonna go through the numbers. So like, this sounds really complex, right? And that's why we like charge people to do it, because it is quite difficult. And if you haven't done it before, it's really difficult. But we've done it. You know, I don't know how many workflows we've built at this point, but it's quite a few. So I'm gonna go over the real numbers on why you should actually spend the time to either pay for this getting done or do it yourself. Because if you take your time, which is that 20 hours, oh dear, there you go, 20 hours at, you know, $150 an hour, which is what might you be worth as the boss or CEO or some sort of manager, it really doesn't cost a lot of your time. And for us, you know, I think per workflow on average we charge anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000. So for us, yeah, it's going to be more expensive, but obviously you spend almost zero time. Your return on whatever, if you pick the most expensive options, like the most expensive API plans, you literally self-host it on like an expensive like AWS Docker, or you just use the cloud version, and then you like bill yourself for your own time. Don't know if that's the thing. Yeah, you'll still receive like a 12x ROI at least, which is kind of insane. And again, if you're using us, like you still receive something similar. It costs you similar using us, because we pay for all that software. So yeah, so here's what's actually happening. So in year one, generally speaking, your profit will be somewhere around this number. Obviously, if you do multiple workflows, then this gets higher and higher. We always do 2 workflows when we start with people, because we can do them, like we're good at it, we can do it simultaneously. But if you're doing this for the first time, just do one and then do the other one sequentially. This compounds so hard. So once you have the framework, which is basically this document, your first automation working, and your team's like bought in and doing it, each additional automation will take like 50% less time because you've done it before. So yeah, and on top of that, it saves you a buttload of time. So within 12 months, most businesses have all of this automated. Last bit of the video, if that's all you care about so far, literally just click on this video, either book a call in the description or download this document and do it yourself, which is cool. I'm just gonna go over the common mistakes. So if you are doing this yourself, it's gonna be very, very useful for you. So mistake number 1 is you start with complex processes. Do not do this. Start with like literally what is the easiest thing to do. For example, don't say, let's automate our entire customer journey. Silly idea. Just automate like lead scoring first. Prove the ROI and then expand from there. So like if your sales teams are like manually lead scoring, even if it takes like 5 minutes a pop and you know getting 100 leads a day or whatever it is, just doing that automatically. It's like so simple, and it'll save you like a couple of hours, and you sort of dip your toes in the water a little bit. Skipping the process decomposition. Yeah, do not skip this. It looks boring and like, you know, meticulous and tedious, but it is so, it's like literally the most important step. So do not skip this. Don't say, oh, I'm going to figure it out as I build. We tried doing that initially. It does not work. It costs you a lot of money when you mess it up. So yeah, you're going to piss basically your team off, you're going to waste your own time, and you're going to say AI sucks, which it doesn't. Mistake number 3 is over-engineering. Let's handle every possible edge case. Again, you don't need to do this. Just handle the main 80% and flag the 20% for human reviews. This will still save you 80% of the time, as opposed to 100. That little like difference, that 3x multiplies your development time, is not worth it. Just give it to a human. This is like a 90-10 rule you can use. 40% automate 90% of cases, let humans handle the weird 10%. This is common in like literally every process ever in history. Mistake number 4 is no monitoring. Again, it's working, set and forget it. It like doesn't really work like that. You want to set up alerts for like failures. So randomly, like for example, if you're using OpenRouter, it might just fail the LLM. And you can have like retry logic and stuff built into it, which is what we do. But again, you probably want that 500 humans so they can check just in case, because it's really hard to see if something is not doing the thing that it's saying it's doing. So yeah, just send yourself the alerts. Weekly summary reports, that's something we're just starting to roll out now. Again, not crucial, but a little bit useful. Ignoring team training. If the automation changes your process slightly, you have to tell your team. You can't just say, oh yeah, by the way, don't do this. You need to document it, put it inside of a document so your team members, and future team members will know how to use this. So here's a little checklist for you in the next 90 days on how to implement everything. If you have this document downloaded, you can literally just check this off as you go. Bottom line, most businesses have, as a median for the businesses that we have worked with, it's around $248,000 in profit sitting in manual processes. And the barrier isn't technology, it's not even budget most of the time. The barrier is just like knowing what to do, knowing how to use AI in a nutshell. So resources, bunch of stuff there for you. I'll try and link a few more so this document might look slightly different when you download it. And ROI tracking template for you as well. Again, just copy this. Final notes, this isn't theory. This is like literally the exact framework we use at Swing Studio to deliver anywhere from $248,000 to $2 million plus in savings per client. The difference between businesses that succeed with AI and those that waste money is purely this framework. It's purely execution discipline. So just follow these 4 steps. Don't skip ahead. Don't over engineer. Jeez, I got that out. Just start simple, do the work, measure the results, and scale what works. And yeah, your 250 grand is in profit is waiting for you. Anyways, if you want any other content like this, just comment questions you may have, and I'll try to answer all of them in the comments.